Hello and welcome to the Smell the Glove podcast. I am St. Paulie D, aka Jungle Jim 67 on Twitter.
I'm Dr J, MB Bodyp on Twitter.
So I suppose it's been a wee while since we had a podcast. It's about 2 weeks now.
Yeah, 20 days, 19 days, something stupid.
So what's been going on in the last 20 days since we last spoke?
The U.S. has decided to go ahead and throw a one-goal lead away against Colombia and then get absolutely run over by the juggernaut that is the Republic of Ireland.
So wait now, schoolboy rules, right? Schoolboy rules here. Ireland hammered USA and Scotland beat Ireland, so therefore Scotland better than the United States of America.
Unless we actually play each other and then we beat you guys 8-0, but that's beside the point.
I don't know about that. I think like if we played each other in a meaningless friendly in the middle of like June, I think you'd probably hammer us about 5-0, which you did last time. However, you played a competitive game in say October in Scotland in the wind and rain, I think we'd probably win 2-0.
Yeah, probably, but you didn't. It was 0-0.
It was 0-0 last time, aye. I heard that was actually an alright game for a 0-0 draw. I didn't actually see it myself, but yeah.
But be honest, they're brutal. I mean, they really are. International games are just absolutely brutal to watch because there's nothing going on. And, I'm more worried about the injury report afterwards.
Speaking of which, what have we got going on? Do we have any injuries? Lustig?
Yes. Hamstring.
Gutted, man.
I know. But we won't talk about Lustig altogether right now. Let's talk about the last game he played in for us, which was Celtic Aberdeen.
Aberdeen. A really enjoyable game. 2-1 victory for the Celts at Pittodrie. Always nice to see. What were your thoughts on it?
Well, it was... I want to actually... Let's do this. So instead of us droning on and on about... What do you think, Paul? 90-minute cynic and us being like really good about talking about football? That's not true?
Nah, like if you want to hear analysis on football done well, listen to an 80-minute cynic and don't listen to us because we don't have a fucking skivvy. As it is, I mean, even thinking back on the Aberdeen game, I can barely remember it now. So I don't want to try and make out that I've broke it down. So if you really want like good analysis, listen to 90-minute cynic because those guys are much better than we are.
Exactly. So what we decided to do was actually, in the honor of talking about the game, acknowledging the game happened, we decided to break this new section into 3 points. So hopefully we get 3 points for the rest of the season, the rest of the way through. But every game we're talking about, we come up with 3 points. Then we're going to move on. That way we can get on to good stuff and fun stuff, and instead of bogging down with details. So, Paul, go ahead. Start us off.
I think I've got the biggest point, so why don't you do your 2 points first, then I'll finish with the final point.
Point number 1 for me about Celtic Aberdeen is I am irritated to no end with everyone complaining about Lucas Zaluska. That's my first point. He you know what? He made the saves at the end. He took Niall McGinn's touch at the end he made the save at the end of the game. He's also touched that ball off the post. I mean, the guy's played 3 SPL matches. He's got got a clean sheet, or a clean sheet last week. He got a game this week, right? They won 2-1. Mm-hmm. He made a mistake on that one. I mean, who doesn't make mistakes? And even the goal that he gave up against Inverness, it was an own goal. It wasn't his fault. He made the save. Someone kicked it in the net. The first thing is, I think Zaluska is a deputy. That's all he is. I have no problem with that. And it blows me away when people talk about, oh, he's absolute pish. And I have a soft spot for goalies, as you know, but I think he's much better than people give him credit for. Remember, he was a starter at Dundee, and Dundee United. He wasn't bad. So anyway, that's the number 1 point about the game. I thought he played really, really well, except for the one mistake where he fumbled the ball. But after that, I thought he played admirably well.
Couple of points there. Well, it could be said that like if you make one mistake as a goalkeeper, then you're useless because that one mistake. But I don't think he'll make constant mistakes like that. See, at the end of last season when he was getting the odd game here or there, I remember thinking to myself going into the season thinking, I can't remember the last time that he's had a really bad game, because I thought he'd done all right in pre-season. I think he's a good set of hands. I think the difference is that see Craig Gordon and see Fraser Foster, they're goalkeepers that win you games. They're quality goalkeepers that will win you a game by doing something like saving a penalty, a save they have absolutely no right to make, they make. He isn't that goalkeeper. He's a level below that, where he's a goalkeeper that's an able enough deputy, as you say. I think he is a number 2 goalkeeper. But if we played the rest of the season with Zaluska, we'd win the league. We'd still win the league. He's a solid enough goalkeeper that won't cost you games, but I don't think he'll win you games. And I think that's the exact level of where Zaluska is at.
But don't tell me like you think you're better off with with the kid. I just don't see it. I don't see us taking somebody, because you got to be honest. I mean, I think even from the American football standpoint, you got to look at it. There are quarterbacks who are really good as backup quarterbacks. And it takes us, and don't get me wrong, I mean, I don't think you have to have a lack of ambition to be the backup keeper, the backup quarterback. I think you need to be a special person in order to accept the fact that you're not at that level, but if you come in and fill in well, that you may have saved the season for your team, which it takes that mentality. And that's the reason why I have a lot more respect for him than people like blowing up, oh my God, he's so horrible. I mean, who else are you going to get for that money and that quality to sit behind Craig Gordon?
Sorry, can I make the point? Do you really want an absolutely outstanding backup goalkeeper? If you have an absolutely outstanding backup goalkeeper, fucking sell him and bring in an average backup goalkeeper and use that money to buy in a better outfield player.
Exactly.
The concept is the backup goalkeeper should be a player that you don't want to play. You don't want to invest money and wages in a guy that you don't want to play. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I remember Schmeichel, when Schmeichel was at Man United, he was going nowhere. Like, that goalkeeper was not getting taken out for anybody. And he had a backup goalkeeper, a Norwegian guy, I think Ronnie's, I can't mind his name now, because I was reading Ferguson's biography recently, and he starts talking about him. And he was just perfect. He was the able deputy. He was a good goalie when he came in, made some good saves. But when Schmeichel went, it wasn't the case of, all right, you're going to be the goalie now. It's, no, you're the backup goalkeeper. He knew his role and done it very, very well.
Yes.
And I've got absolutely no qualms with Zaluska doing this. I think Zaluska's he's realised that he could go to a Dundee United, could go to a whatever, and probably be a number 1 goalkeeper, but he'll win fuck all. Whereas Zaluska might get a Champions League game next year if there's an injury to Craig Gordon or whatever. Right. I think he's in an absolute ideal spot. See, to be honest with you, see Mark Brown, who's Inverness Cali, was our backup goalie for ages.
Mm-hmm.
People slagged off him being, he's shite, blah, blah, blah. He was a backup to Boric. I thought he was quite a good backup goalkeeper, to be honest with you. And see right now at Cali Thistle, he's fucking outstanding for them. So
yeah.
It just shows. I mean, if you're gonna go out and invest, like Mark Brown is one of the best goalkeepers in the Premier League outside of Celtic, right? And if you're going to go out and invest in a goalkeeper who's better than the best other goalkeeper in Scotland to be your backup goalkeeper, you're setting fire to money. So, yeah, more than happy with Zaluska, to be quite honest with you. I just don't want him playing every week. I want Craig Gordon playing every week because I think he's fucking outstanding.
Exactly. I agree with you. And I'll tell you what, if you're going to say that he needs to be shot because Zaluski's a backup, well, I mean, then if Zaluska needs to be shot, then what do we do to Effie Ambrose? But we'll talk about that later. Anyway. Okay, so point number two. Point number two. Rooney's red was absolutely the softest red I've ever seen. The softest second yellow. Didn't even touch the guy.
You know what? I don't think it's a red card at all. However, I'm glad he got sent off because it showed that we could win without him. Not in the sense of, I don't like Bruni. I love Bruni and we'll talk about his contract later on. But it's a case of character building for that game and the kind of fucking story arc of that game where he gets sent off and we still go on and win with 10 men and we beat Aberdeen with 10 men when all the things were going in favour of us dropping points in that game. All the usual suspects, man getting sent off, dodgy goalkeeping goal, etc., etc. That is the game that Celtic would normally lose. And guess what? Bang, back of the net, Van Dijk, 3 points, thanks very much. See you later, Aberdeen, back on the bus, happy days. So I'm kind of, because we got the 3 points, I don't mind, but if he got sent off and we dropped points there, I'd have been fucking raging. So, yeah, it was soft as fuck. What did you think?
No, and it hurt us last weekend against Dundee, him not being there. So, I mean, I am kind of irritated with him being sent off. And did we get the 3 points? Yes, but I mean, come on, you got to do better than that. Especially when oh God, who's the guy from Robson's running around basically as a hatchet man the entire game.
Robson was booting everybody, and is it Paulie Pollock was fucking kicking everybody and then also
Diving.
diving like a madman.
He even got a 10 from the Russian judge on one of his dives. I was amazed. I was like, oh my God. So my question to you is, I guess, point number 3 was the end.
Yes, this is my point.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you think that was Ronnie's defining moment where unless you played for Celtic or you've got some Celtic connection, like Martin O'Neill was a different scenario and Liam Brady was a different scenario, where there were obviously big Irishmen that the fans were fond of before then, and they were big personalities and well known. Ronnie's definitely came in as an outsider, and Celtic fans, we are a cliquey bunch. We're very much, we like our Celtic men. We're a very close-knit community, and we don't let people in, easily. You've got to be kind of vouched in. And was that his moment where he was fully accepted with the Celtic fans? Because I loved that, seeing him over there fist pumping in front of the fans. Lee Griffiths and Guidetti going mental. Even John Collins and Kennedy were over there, the whole team, and it just seemed this united moment of like them all together, and the fans were loving it. Do you think that was his moment where he's kind of turned the corner and brought everything together?
I think yes, but I think his moment happened a few minutes before that. If you remember the TV feed on the replay when they scored the goal, he went down to 2 knees and gave me a one of those. What's the guy's name from Chelsea, the manager?
Mourinho.
Yeah, give me those Mourinho, yes, we scored type things. Then he stood up, and what was the first thing that happened? Stokesy comes right around the back and bear hugs him.
Yeah.
And to me, that is a signal that the shirts like the management.
Yeah, definitely.
That to me, and I think I think people see that. And then if you listen to Homeboys when Paul was talking about having the getting them actually listen to Ronnie talk everything else and his passion and everything else, you put those things together, and then he gets out in front of the crowd and starts whooping it up with them. I mean, yeah, of course, I think that's a big thing, and of course, going back to what we were talking about from the very beginning when he came over. And things didn't look all that, rosy. Without we wanted to think that we were going to, keep or not. The whole idea was, let's see where we are at the end of the year. At the end of, when December ends up, where are we and what's going on? And then, we'll make a decision then. We'll give them a transfer window, everything else. And we've said, I'll give them a year. Was I happy, or were people happy looking at what happened? No, not really. But looking back and seeing the team progress as he gets his team together, gets his players playing that way, thank God getting Ambrose out of the team. But I mean, after all that, I think you're right. I think to us that's a turning point. The same way, and I'm going to give you a parallel that's exactly the same thing. Guidetti scores and then goes into the crowd, gives his shirt away, starts clapping with the crowd, everything else, and what happens? Fans love him.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's great to see underlying passion coming out in all these guys. And I think you don't just we've got this idea where we get it, we've known it for years, but you come to Celtic, it's a big club, etc. You may not know much about the club and the support, and it takes a wee while to kind of get involved. I think Guidetti's a different case where the games are on in Sweden because of Larson and all that, and he's seen Old Firm games. But Ronnie's, I love Ronnie. I'm a Ronnie fanboy at the moment. I think that this team have started to, they've drank the Kool-Aid. They're in on his program now. They're his players, and they're starting to come round to everything that he's saying. I love the fact he's showing passion. I loved the last minute winner. I thought it was a binding moment for the team. That going over to the fans was fantastic and all this. See, another point, can I just say, right? Can everyone just stop giving John Collins grief? I just don't.
Yes.
It's just right? Can we just an absolute appeal? Can everybody lay off John Collins? And I said this at the time when John Collins came in. Why do people, I hate John Collins. I hate John Collins. Oh, he's arrogant. He's this, he's that. Quite honest with you.
Fitness freak.
Why is John Collins hated? One, he's successful, and he was successful away from Celtic. People don't like that in Scotland sometimes. They don't like it when someone goes away and is successful and goes on. I remember, Craig Ferguson, the Late Late Show?
Yes.
Right. Craig Ferguson, the Late Late Show, if you ever watch his show, is a total, he always brings up Scotland, speaks passionately about Scotland. I remember the Daily Record slamming him, saying he was like this sellout and this arsehole because he'd went out and made tons of money in Los Angeles and whatever.